are the headlines of the hour. Freedom of speech being suppressed, comedian Mahaduo, leaders of the 2006 democracy movement forced to apologize by the government. Social media being abused by mobilizing cyber soldiers. Distance between CPN-UML and Nepali Congress broadens regarding the terms of reference of the Parliamentary Probe Committee. UML demands apology from Nepali Congress leaders. Cultivation of traditional cash crops disappearing in the Khumbu region of Solukhumbu. Agriculture occupation of the residents of the mountainous region gravely affected by the effects of climate change. And Nepal currently playing against Canada in a warm-up match in preparation for the upcoming T20 World Cup. Nepal bowling first after winning the toss in the match in Dallas, Texas. The government has forced senior artist Madan Krishna Shrestha and Haribangsha Acharya to apologize for speaking in support of democracy, press freedom and freedom of speech. The government is not only making efforts to suppress people's right to freedom of speech, but creating pressure to apologize for speaking. Senior artist Madan Krishna and Haribangsha Acharya were fighters during the 2006 democracy movement. They fought against the autocratic rule of King Gyanendra Shah in support of democracy, press freedom and freedom of speech. They were always threatened by the army and police during that time, but were not intimidated by them and led the movement. However, now they have been forced by Home Minister Rabi Lamishane and supporters of the government to apologize in social media for speaking in support of press freedom and freedom of speech. Madan Krishna and Haribangsha had spoken last Saturday against the government move of arresting Kantipur Media Group chairperson Kailash Siroia and clamping down on press freedom and freedom of speech. Not only the comedian duo, press organizations from around the world and human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, have raised their voices against the arrest of Siroia, demanding for his early release. However, the government is moving forward in an autocratic way, neglecting the voices. Political parties that have been divided on the cooperatives fraud scandal have entered other political issues as well. Two large parties of the parliament, Nepali Congress and CPN-UML, have been divided on the consensus reached between political parties regarding the formation of the parliamentary committee to probe the fraud case. During the meeting called by Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal seeking a consensus on the terms of reference of the parliamentary committee that has been formed to probe the cooperatives fraud, ruling alliance partner CPN-UML alleged Nepali Congress of making efforts to change the topic. Meanwhile, UML has put forth a new condition. The party has demanded a written apology, citing Nepali Congress leaders had made false accusations against CPN-UML chair KP Sharma Oli during their protest program in Kathmandu yesterday. They have warned of retaliating if an apology is not submitted. UML has expressed a dissatisfaction over the remarks made by Nepali Congress General Secretary Bishwa Prakash Sharma. Meanwhile, Nepali Congress has said that although the Prime Minister was positive regarding the formation of the parliamentary committee to probe the cooperatives fraud case, problems had surfaced due to CPN-UML's stance on the matter. This will likely affect various other issues that have to be concluded through consensus. The Parliament has remained obstructed due to the issue related to the investigation on cooperatives fraud. The effects of the latest conflict between CPN-UML and Nepali Congress is projected to affect the government as well as the Parliament proceedings. Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Before that, let's take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we had asked, why is the role of the National Human Rights Commission feeble? 33% voted for A, non-cooperation by the government, 62% for B, weakness of office bearers, and 5% for C, lack of resources. And here's today's question. Why has the distance between Nepali Congress and CPN-UML widened? Your options are A, intention to escalate problem, B, indication of new political equation, and C, political stand is normal. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. A writ was filed at the Supreme Court today demanding for the suspension of Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Rabi Lamichhane, who has been alleged of involvement in cooperatives fraud, and to scrap the document issued by the Office of the Attorney General claiming no cases have been filed against Lamichhane. Attorney Anupam Bhattarai filed the writ against Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Lamichhane and Attorney General Dinmani Pokhrel earlier today. The writ also demands an interim order in the name of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers to suspend the Home Minister, citing he made an inappropriate and a negative impact on the investigation, as well as it would be against the principle of natural justice. The single bench of Justice Tek Prasad Dhungana had issued an order to register the writ last Wednesday after the Supreme Court administration refused to file the writ. The writ has also raised question against the letter issued by the Office of the Attorney General stating that cases related to cooperatives fraud have not been filed against Home Minister Lamichhane in Kaski, Rupandehi and Chitwan. The writ also states that the letter issued by the Office of the Attorney General has weakened the base of the Constitution, criminal law and justice for the victims of cooperatives. The hearing on the writ has been scheduled for this Wednesday. The Dhanusha District Court has extended the remand for Kantipur Media Group Chairperson Kailash Siroia by additional 3 days. The single bench of Judge Yadhuram Sharma extended the remand of Siroia until Wednesday to conduct further investigation. Police had demanded to extend his remand, citing that the forensic report of the signature on Siroia's citizenship had not arrived yet. Rashtriya Swatantra Party's member from Madhesh Province, Indrajit Prasad Mahato, had filed a complaint with Dhanusha police saying that Siroia's citizenship number had coincided with that of another individual. Based on this, the police had arrested Siroia from his office in the capital's Thapathali last Tuesday and taken him to Dhanusha the same day. The district court had extended his remand by 3 days the next day. Police had demanded the extension of his remand by 5 days through the Office of the Attorney General on Friday, citing the investigation had not concluded. However, the court had extended the remand by 3 days. We'll take a short break here. We have more news coming up. The Parliament Secretariat has said that all preparations for the budget of the upcoming fiscal year 2024-25 that will be presented in the joint meeting of the Federal Parliament tomorrow has been complete. Minister for Finance Barshaman Pun is scheduled to unveil the budget for the upcoming fiscal year during the joint meeting of both the houses at 1 p.m. tomorrow at the Parliament building in capital's New Baneshwar. According to Assistant Spokesperson of the Parliament Secretariat, Dashrath Dhamala, the meeting will be adjourned after the Finance Minister unveils the budget. Separate meetings of the House of Representatives and the National Assembly have also been scheduled for tomorrow, while Finance Minister Pun will present the report on the revenue and expenditure of the fiscal year. The Secretariat has said that tomorrow's program will not be affected by the continued Parliament obstruction by main opposition, Nepali Congress. The Parliament Secretariat has also said that other businesses will also be presented at the Parliament, given a consensus is reached between the political parties. Prior to this, the government had endorsed its policies and programs from the Parliament amid obstruction by the main opposition. In our Public Voice segment, today we have asked in several provinces what issues must be addressed in the budget of the upcoming fiscal year. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
बजेट में हामीहरुलाई सबभन्दा पहिला त्यही तलबको वृद्धि गरिदिनु पर्यो।
प्रत्येक वर्ष हामीले बजेटमा केही न केही करहरू बढाएको देखेको छौं। तर यो अहिलेको जुन अवस्था छ आर्थिक मन्दी, यो अवस्थामा सरकारको तर्फबाट अब नयाँ बजेटमा केही चीज बढाएर नआओस्।
बाटोघाटोहरू त्यति राम्रोसँग बनिहालेको त छैन हैन, त्यसको लागि मतलब व्यवस्था गरिदिनु पर्यो।
राम्रो शिक्षा भए तापनि शिक्षा अनुसार चाहिँ रोजगारी क्रिएट गर्न सकिएको छैन कि।
बजेटमा सरकारले युवा पलायन रोक्नको लागि विशेष कार्यक्रम, विशेष योजना गरिदिएको भए राम्रो हुन्थ्यो।
किसानले आत्मैदेखि अनुभव गर्ने, फिलिङ गर्ने र उत्पादन गरेर केही हुन्छ भन्ने हौसला बढ्ने तरिकाले बजेट विनियोजन गर्नुपर्छ।
चीन र भारत जोड्ने सडकमा चाहिँ विशेष बजेट हाल्नुपर्छ।
जनमुखी, उत्पादनमुखी र प्रतिमूलमुखी बन्नुपर्छ। वितरणमुखी बजेटलाई रोक्नुपर्छ।
उद्योगी व्यापारी क्षेत्रमा चाहिँ करको दायरामा केही हेरफेर गरेर अलिकति सहुलियत गर्दै चाहिँ धेरै राम्रो हुन्थ्यो।
Buckwheat, barley and potatoes, among other traditional cash crops, used to be cultivated and harvested in the Khumbu region of Solukhumbu until a decade ago. However, the harvest of such cash crops have declined in recent time due to change in weather patterns in the mountainous region. Farmers have stopped cultivating buckwheat and barley, while potato harvest has also declined.
The farmlands of Dingboche Solukhumbu used to be covered with barley during this season a few years ago. Locals used to consume traditional food made out of barley, popularly known as sattu and dhino. However, the fields are barren at the moment as farmers have abandoned the cultivation of barley and buckwheat. Majority of the fields in the mountainous region of Khumbu do not have irrigation facility. The snow that remains on the surface for a long time had been an alternative to irrigation. However, snowfall in the mountainous region has decreased in recent time. The harvest of potatoes has also decreased compared to previous years. Residents of Khumbu region operate hotels during the mountaineering season. This is also a seasonal source of income. Apart from hotel business, they rely on agriculture, while this also depends on the weather conditions. The agriculture occupation of the residents of the mountainous region has been gravely affected by the effects of climate change.
Mountaineer Purnima Shrestha, who has achieved a record-breaking feat by scaling the highest mountain in the world, Mount Everest, 3 times in a single season, has been given a grand welcome in Kathmandu. She successfully completed the expedition for the 3rd time this season last Saturday and has set a world record. She reached the summit of Mount Everest on 12th, 19th and 25th of May this month. Prior to this, Shrestha had successfully scaled Mount Everest for the first time in the year 2018. She has already climbed 7 out of the 8 mountains in the country that are above 8,000 meters. Time now for international update. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza has said dozens of people have been killed or injured in a blast at a refugee camp in the Rafah area. Videos from the scene in the southern Gaza Strip showed a large explosion and intense fires burning. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, said it had targeted 2 senior Hamas leaders at one of the group's compounds and would review reports. Fire had spread to shelters, harming civilians. Hours earlier, Hamas had fired 8 rockets from Rafah towards Tel Aviv, the first long-range attacks on the city since January. The strike on Rafah came 2 days after the International Court of Justice ordered Israel to immediately halt its military operation in Rafah, where hundreds of thousands of civilians are still sheltering. In a statement released after the blast inside Gaza last night, the IDF said it had eliminated 2 senior Hamas figures, Yassin Rabia and Khalid Nagar, in a precise airstrike in northwest Rafah. The IDF said it had targeted Hamas militants with precision weapons. Hamas-run authorities said 35 people had been killed and dozens injured at a camp for displaced Palestinians northwest of Rafah, away from recent military operations in a designated humanitarian safe zone. It said women and children are among the dead. The death toll was likely to rise as search and rescue efforts continued in Rafah's Tal al-Sultan neighborhood, about 2 kilometers northwest of the city center. Time now for another short break. We'll be right back. Time now for sports update.
Sports news.
Nepal are currently playing against Canada in a warm-up match in preparation for the upcoming T20 World Cup. In the match being played at a Grand Prairie Stadium in Dallas, Texas, Canada were put to bat first and have scored 144 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in 18 overs as per a recent update. Nicholas Kirtan is the leading scorer for Canada with a quick-fire 52 of 39 balls. Avinash Bora is the leading Nepali bowler, grabbing 2 wickets. Nepal are scheduled to play against host USA in their second warm-up match this Thursday. After that, Nepal will play their first group stage match of the T20 World Cup against Netherlands in 4th of June. Nepal will then face Sri Lanka on 12th of June, South Africa on 15th of June and Bangladesh on 17th of June. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.